The Holocaust is a mass genocide that occurred in modern times. And that's one of the reasons why I think that it's really important and worthwhile for us as a modern society to study it. It's easy to think that things that happened a long time ago happened to people that weren't like us. But the Holocaust, in fact, happened to people and was perpetrated by people who were exactly like us. They drove cars, they went to movie theaters, they went to universities, they had schools, and even though they had lots of culture and lots of education, the Holocaust was still able to occur.
I think it's important to learn about the Holocaust because the Holocaust is, of course, about a Jewish tragedy, but it's also for people to know that those kind of things can happen, and this is a way for people to be aware and make sure that it never happens to any other group of people. It was definitely a Jewish experience, but we can learn not only about what to do to protect ourselves, but also to learn that there is enough cruelty and evil in the world, and we need to be able to stand and fight against it.
I think that we should learn about the Holocaust mostly because of the fact that it's our history as a Jewish people. To learn about where our ancestors came from as far as being in Europe, and kind of the atrocities that took place so that we don't ever forget. But it's important for everybody to study the Holocaust because there are atrocities that take place all over the world, and this was one where we lost 6 million people. So I think for everybody to realize to make sure that something like that never happens again in the history of the world.
I've been a teacher for over 30 years, and many of those years I have been teaching the Holocaust. And some people think that non-Jews are not interested in teaching the lessons of the Holocaust, and I see that as having absolutely nothing to do with it. The fact that people were treated inhumanely, the fact that people were considered to be not worth living simply because of their religion or their cultural connection. I find that to be abhorrent. And these are lessons that we need to teach to our students for a number of reasons, so that this same thing does not happen again in the future. We need them to learn to respect the other person, the person who is different than they are. Doesn't mean that they are any lesser value because they are different. But students need to know to respect that other person and to find out what their differences are and to find out what their similarities are.